Hello, we're back. I don't know about you, but me, I'm absolutely. So we will need your energy. I will need your energy to keep me going. We start with the presentations, the feedback from the workshop this morning. And we'll start with this, do as quick as possible. And then we go into our next two panels. I think we have two panels. So feedback from the groups this morning. I think we start with Group B. Who's the rapporteur for Group B? Please do the reporting. The report.
This one? A little bit delay, so we have to a bit.
So you click once and you wait a
Yeah.
little bit. Yes.
We'll do it. Yes.
Tired.
Yeah, I'll fall asleep. No, I'd rather be here.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Are we awake?
Yes.
Okay, with a lot of coffee.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm Marian Tan from the Masipag Farmers Network. You'll hear about our experience tomorrow, and from the University of the Philippines. I am not yet a partner of the DESIRA, hopefully soon, but they have adopted me to report on our workshop. Okay, results. So these are our recommendations. What would you recommend to increase the chances of project change or reach impact? So these are our recommendations for the project implementers. First is to engage farmers or organization at the onset in project design. Consider applicability. Include them in participatory monitoring, evaluation, and learning, and consider different indicators. We see that there are different impacts of the projects on different levels, on the individuals, on the household and family level, on the farmers organizations, and on the community as a whole. So we want to be able to already integrate different indicators at the project design. And harmonize these with the project and goals, and then document lessons and best practices resulting from the project, and advocate for local policies to institutionalize these best practices. Okay, so we already mentioned co-design at the onset of the project, improve efficiency of collaboration, ensure replicability and scaling up of the projects at the beginning, at the project design. Ensure multi-stakeholder cooperation, encourage cooperation with different stakeholders. So aside from the farmers' organizations, encourage participation of universities, researchers, ministries, and local government, and even the private sector. Ensure continuing capacity development of project implementers. Capacity building in terms of project management, monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Develop appropriate quantitative and qualitative project indicators. And provide regular coaching and collective reflection among the different stakeholders. Okay, I think I mentioned it already, capturing knowledge and lessons. In terms of the creation and development of the project team, recruit staff with relevant capacity, experience, and attitude. Improve efficiency and collaboration by reducing bureaucratic processes. Maybe the implementers can explain this a little bit more if you have questions. We are referring to the red tape that distract from the core function of conducting research. Provide time and space for the actual conduct of the research. Okay. Provide more spaces for longer-term partnership and collaboration with agreed goals and co-funding and impact pathways. Okay, so that's for the project implementers. For the donors. So we, in the group, we are advocating that even the donors be co-design. So we are promoting donor capacity and knowledge building about scaling up. So build capacity and knowledge of donors about scaling up processes, approaches, and indicators. And so that they will better understand, provide examples of indicators of scaling up, out, and deep. This includes webinars about DESIRA communities on scaling up. Ensure policy alignment between national policy framework and the priorities and the project implementation. Also, in the co-design, we encourage involving the donors also in the co-design in consultation with the beneficiaries. But it was mentioned, maybe you can explain, teammates. Sometimes the donors refuse. They leave this to the lead organization, but we would like to put on record that we would, just smiling, we would like to put on record that we would want to continue to advocate for the donors to be involved in the co-design. Invest in the capacity development of project staff. We want to provide, evolve funding models that will share in the pain of funding, results-based funding, support awareness, knowledge, and capacity of the EU delegation representatives of project rationals in the aim of the DESIRA LIFT model to help them understand and support their decision-making on project investments and design. Okay, for the policymakers, 2 short recommendations: create a more enabling environment for agricultural innovation through policies, and engage champion policymakers. So at the very beginning, we can already identify our allies who can be our champions in terms of our project goals. At the start, in formulating strategies to ensure these are institutionalized through policies or programs. Okay, if you have questions, you can ask my teammates. Thank you very much.
So let's move to group A. Here. Okay.
Okay, should we go for another group C, for example? Yeah.
C. Group C.
I picked the computer, excuse me.
But you will have them here.
So just a detail, we really addressed this question by thinking about what could increase the chances of projects to generate changes and impacts after project duration. So thinking about the long term.
Ah oui, nous on a travaillé.
So it's me. My name is Stefan. I was designated volunteer. Yeah, okay. So a lot of things. So I will try to highlight some innovation in the recommendation because there are some things that are common to each group. At least group B was the same. So regarding project implementers, so we have several recommendations, a lot actually. Regarding the specific thinking, I think that 2 points are interesting. Multi-level challenges. For instance, the fact that generally the level, local, national, and international or regional, the results are not really fully addressed by these different levels. I mean, for instance, if you have some impacts and we know that champion farmers, for instance, at the local level, they have a lot of impact. We cannot see these champion farmers at the other levels, I mean, at the national or even international. They are not participated, for instance, so it is important to link this level. So the other is the multi-sectoral challenge that Generally, when we work, for instance, on agroecology, we don't think about other sectors, and it is important to link with the other sectors. We have some recommendation on collaboration regarding the engagement with various stakeholders, especially the farmers group, the local communities, and the gender youth. We have some recommendation on integration. So both at the local level to integrate the results at the community in the community action plans and in national policies. And yet some very interesting recommendation on knowledge production. The first is regarding the knowledge product. We saw yesterday with you the importance of the storytelling. It is really, really important in terms of recommendation to deliver a message. And something that we forget. I mean, it's better to have a good story than blah, 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 integration, embeddedness, and so on. So, it is something that we need to think when we are making recommendation. And also an interesting recommendation to highlight about AI. Interesting because it came from farmers, farmer representative, saying that a lot of farmers know they use it. So why not? And recommendation.
Yes.
Okay. No. Foster leakage and synergies also are important. Sorry.
You which one?
Come back. Previous, please.
Implementers.
Okay, yeah. Okay, long term. So it's something that we discussed already in your other group. So it's always important to have a long-term vision, strategies from the start, and also working with the private sector on business strategy. And yes, other point that is important regarding project implementers is the ownership, appropriation ownership of yes, all the results. Yeah, next one. So for donors, some interesting point regarding the funding mechanism. We discussed a lot on what happened when the project ends. So a fund to finance the next project, for instance, could be an interesting proposition. I mean, if we have several projects and we have a fund, we can think about what are the most successful projects and to continue second phase for this project. Long-term implementation of policy change, so it's something that is common, I think, in various groups. And regarding evaluation, also some interesting thinking about how to evaluate a project. Normally, you have a project, for instance, 3 or 5 years, and evaluation. I mean, monitoring evaluation is inside these 5 years. And if you would like to do a very strong evaluation, like impact evaluation, for instance, it's quite impossible. It's costly, it's too long, it's too heavy to implement. So could be interesting to have like a 3 years project, for instance, and to dedicate an additional fund just to evaluate what's happened after the project ends. I mean, to see if the community, for instance, the farmers, they are continuing to implement the project. So yes, so some ideas on that, adapt the duration of the project, and other interesting idea is to not focus only on impact evaluation. Because sometimes the donors, they would like to focus only on impact, but we know that it's difficult to have some impact. But impact as pathway can be a way to evaluate, more evaluating the process more than the result, the final result. Flexibility is also important for donors. So it's something that we discussed already. And the linkage and synergy, linkage between all the projects, for instance, or several projects, and dialogue to among the members. And priority and ownerships also. Yes, maybe after the project, when we have some results, focus on some priorities, not on all the results, but just to have 2-3 points that are very important. And for policymakers, so engagements with stakeholders, including local government, is important. Also, regarding the project evaluation, could also to include the policymakers in the evaluation, because sometimes they are not included. We present the result of the evaluation, but we don't include the policymakers in the. Yes, and also that the results of the project should be in national. Yeah. So, thank you. Now the same if you are.
Okay, so I think that is still to be presenting.
Thank you so much. So, a person from Pakistan, he went to the United States, and when he went there, he found it very hard communicating. So he asked his friend that, hey, when I go to a restaurant, what should I speak about? He said, when a waiter comes to you, just tell him 1 plate potato chips, please. So he remembered it by heart, went to the restaurant. The waiter came. What can I do for you, sir? He said, 1 plate potato chips, please. So he was served, he enjoyed, and he enjoyed it for a few days. But after that, he got he taught him 1 bowl chicken soup, please. So that was something new. So he surely wanted to try that. Went to the restaurant. The waiter came. What can I do for you, sir? I said, 1 bowl chicken soup, please. Would you like to have the small serving or the large one, please? No, 1 bowl chicken soup, please. Excuse me, sir, but would you clarify if you would like to have the small serving or any other size? 1
Yes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Alun Sai. I'm representing the national convener for LAPIA on the food system transformation. So apology for the absence of my convener. So and I'm new actually for your information. I'm new on this kind of discussion. So if you have any question, please share with my colleagues. Thank you.
Ask your colleague here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Estelle Bienat. I'm a CIRAD researcher and I'm an agricultural economist, and I'm working very strongly on market transformation and food system transformations. And I'm a scientific coordinator of the ASSET project. I don't think I need to present CIRAD and ASSET. Well done very nicely before. Yeah.
Very good.
And I'm standing in that panel because I'm a member of the Malika platform, and I've been living in Hanoi, in Vietnam, working in Vietnam, from Vietnam, and in Vietnam for more than 8 years now in that platform.
Okay, thank you very much. So Esther, would you first tell us a bit more about what the Malika platform in partnership is? And then if it's possible, we would like you to address a challenge which has been mentioned this morning, but also yesterday, which is building markets and for farmers to get a fair price for their products, and how the food systems you can help us to think about these issues.
Thanks a lot, Chloe. So normally I'm very talkative, so I've been trying to make notes. I will try to stick to my notes.
And to your 10 minutes.
And to my 10 minutes, let's see. So first, let me introduce Malika. So I think Daotean already mentioned that it's a research for development platform in partnerships, and it has been initiated in the collaboration between the Vietnamese partners and strongly under the Vietnamese Academy of Agricultural Science and CIRAD. And CIRAD has been contributing to ensuring the continuity in operation of that platform for over time, beyond projects. We've been talking about it. And that platform has been operating for more than 20 years now, and initially developed in Vietnam, nested in Vietnam, and then now working also in Laos and possibly in the future in other countries in Southeast Asia. And currently our partnership has been broadened. So beside VAS with CASRAD and Fabric, we also include IPSA, a think tank from the Ministry of Agriculture and its Rural Development Center, but also Lao partners, the National University of Laos and the NAFRI. And we also work together with CIAT that Chien was mentioning, the Alliance Biodiversity CIAT, and with ILRI on the livestock and food safety side, more specifically, as well as IRD, the other French institute, which was also presented yesterday. So it's a combination of national and international partners working together, and we work under the presidency of Daote Ain for quite some time now, and very happy to do so. So our main objective is to analyze, asset and support food system innovation and transformations in agriculture, distribution, provisioning, and consumptions towards fostering sustainability in Southeast Asia. So it has been a partnership for a long time, which has been very much exploring and trying to better understand and account for the connections between rural and urban areas, considering that agricultural transformation, food transformation are not only a rural issue, they are very much urban issues. So that's very much been the ground for developing Malika originally. And increasingly, Malika has been engaging in supporting agroecological transformation and how to scale this transformation at food system level through better linking agroecological transformation at farming, agricultural landscape and territories, linking this with agroecological transformation at market level. We are very much depart from the perspective that agroecology is very much also about transforming markets, and that point was strongly made by Putasin, and doing it together with transforming agriculture and together with farmers and all the actors in the value chains and in the food systems. Right? So that's very much about what Fergus was saying, is very much innovating in the different spaces, agricultural and market spaces, and doing that working together. So I'm going to try and, I'm not going to cover all of Malika, what Malika is about. I'm going to try and just provide some features about a few experiences and our different approaches in working on that. So first, very much, this point has been made before, but it's very much important for us that we depart from existing practices from different actors in the food system. That's really a first step. That's really our point of understanding what is in there. And when I talk about practices, I'm obviously talking about farming practices, but way beyond, we talk about market practices, right? Market is about actors, it's about exchanging things, it's about agreeing on quality. So these are things that are based in different practices, right? So practices is not only about farming, it's very much about marketing. Marketing is not an external thing, it's really something that many people are intervening in and transforming, right? And innovating in. So yeah, we're very much about innovating on these aspects. I'm not sticking to my notes. So when we talk about market innovation, we're talking about economic, social, organizational, institutional processes, right? We're talking about private actors, including farmers, local collectors, etc. We're also talking about public actors, right? Because they're very important in framing markets. So that's what we intend to work on. And we really, so I was saying, we depart from understanding the diversity of existing marketing practices to identify the opportunities, the gaps, the needs for market changes. So that's really the rationale. Just one concrete example of things that we've been doing recently in the context of asset and as a project is about understanding market digitalization. What is happening there? It's been strongly developing in the context of Vietnam, especially since COVID, both through online platforms, private and institutional platforms, but also very much through the use of social media applications. Facebook, Zalo, TikTok, very innovative approaches to digitalization. So what we wanted to do is understand, well, what are the different market arrangements behind it? Who are the actors who are developing this market arrangement? How are they creating new linkages in the chains, new arrangements by making different uses of these different digital devices? How do they use it to advertise and to sell their products? And sell their products, especially, can it help promoting agroecological products? How do they use it in the context of specific products based on agroecological practices? So what are the mechanisms, what are the characteristics of the products which are traded, and how are they communicated? And the quality that is being claimed, how is it guaranteed? So it's very much, you say, I'm talking about practices about managing quality, transacting, etc. So I think it's quite logical, but a result that we've got many insights on is about that, because it's very much a low entry cost market, digital market, because many operators can improvise themselves our market as sellers and as buyers on that. And then sellers can reach out to distant consumers that way, but at the same time, it comes with fierce competition, right? Because many actors are coming in increasingly. And then the risk is for unfair competition with actors who have been, genuinely selling agroecological products, being in competition with actors seeing opportunities, short-term possibilities to make money, and advertising supposedly agroecological products, but actually with no capacity, with no supporting behind their claims. So public policies have been trying to address these issues, these risks, but the point is that they've been doing it mainly by supporting institutional platforms. And in Vietnam, most of this digitalization, a lot happens through social medias, right? And there, this question of guaranteeing on how you build trust are not yet very much institutionalized, right? So that's a key question that we are looking at, for example. Not for example, but that's only one way of doing it in a specific market dynamics. The second thing is that building on these 2 minutes, wow, no wait. So let me take second point. So how do we work on scaling innovation through market transformation? So based on these learnings, what we try and is piloting market developments beyond these single small scale innovations, doing it by looking at territorial level. So I'm not going to talk about it, but we've got a very strong work on territorial branding, which has been mentioned by Pascal and Daotian before. Very happy to talk about it. It's really a way of combining, working with local authorities in a specific territory who has been engaging in branding their territories, both for their agroecological feature and for agrotourism. And at the same time, many local actors being very much involved in promoting their products from that territory, and that's a territory in northern Vietnam. So I'm not going to talk about how we work on there, but unfortunately,
You will have questions. You will have questions.
And then the last point I wanted to make is that besides working, like doing this type of action research together, very much working, and in the territorial ranking, very much working under the lead of the national institutions who have the strong connection with local authorities and the strong connection with local networks of active innovators, farmers, rural operators. The other aspect where Malika has been very strongly involved for quite some time is about policy advocacy. And this is something that has strongly developed in the recent past, especially in the context of the development of the National Action Plan on Food System Transformation that Daotian mentioned yesterday. And then Daotian was making the case that because Malika has been working for so long in food system understanding, etc., it was very prepared to be part of the conversation, and Tian made a lot of insights into these developments. So we are working on informing policies, supporting policy changes, bringing robust evidence to policymakers. But the point I wanted to make is we're very much as a research-based group intending to contribute to framing the visions and understanding and challenging the underlying conceptions behind what is food system sustainability, right? And act upon the narratives that are influencing this vision, the narrative about sustainability visions, because we act in a world where, despite having this common framework for sustainable development goals, we have quite a fragmented approach to sustainability, with the climate agenda having its own vision of sustainability, biodiversity conservation, etc., and then food system coming in. And though there is a convergence process initiated, there is a lot of things to do into bringing more actual convergence, and we believe that by conceptualizing more deeply what we are meaning with sustainability of food system, it would help. Just not having time again, but just a concrete example on how we do that. Sorry, is Tian has gone, but no, he's still here. He's been working closely with our colleague from CIRAD, Paul Moustier, on under the UN Food System Dialogues about deepening the understanding about what makes food systems, what makes up food systems, and the different types of food provisioning in there. And clearly making more visible the contribution of these different types. Getting rid of that modern versus traditional duality in terms of one outperforming the other, but showing how different types of modernity contribute to different performances in terms of employment, nutrition status for different types of population, etc. There is a very good article where Dao Tian is involved from the Vietnamese side. So, and the last part, if you still allow me, but I'm not making the case, just saying that this has also been, that question is helping us questioning what do we mean by market? So when we've been developing in the context of the ASEAN, of ASET, the ASEAN guidelines, we've been very much questioning what do people talk about when they talk about market? Because you've got market failures, market demand, market transformations, but this means many different things, right? So we've been trying to very much figure out in what are the different paths, the different drivers, what are people meaning when they talk about market failures, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean agri-food market transformation. It may mean changing financing schemes, right? Which is a bit different because the climate market is totally different from the concrete agri-food market. It's totally different practices, totally different actors. So we're not talking about the same thing. We are talking about finance that Pascal was raising this morning. How do we get into these things? So market is used in many different respects, and we're trying to really encode better the meaning of what market means in different contexts, and especially in the context of food system transformation, building on agroecological practices. Sorry for being so long.
Well, thank you so much, Estelle, for these insights on how research can support critical issues, such as ensuring that farmers selling agroecological products do not suffer from unfair competition, or on your involvement as a platform in political advocacy by framing new visions of food system sustainability, or questioning what is a market from different perspectives. So now speaking about food systems agenda and visions, alongside as a convener of the UN Food Systems Agenda for the Lao People's Democratic Republic, how have you seen and ensured that this agenda would articulate with different kind of stakeholders, including consumers, and how do you continue ensuring and measuring the changes it generates?
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Allow me to start with how we see the food system transformation. Because as we are aware of the food system transformation process, it represents, let's say, a thoughtful or systematic approach to addressing complex challenges by fostering innovation and inclusive development. Therefore, we have taken, let's say, a systematic, or we call a three-phase approach, including first phase, we call a foundation stage, and second phase, we call, let's say, the second one is transition phase, and the last one is the full transformation phase. First, during our foundation stage from 2021 to 2023, we conducted the extensive National Food System Summit dialogue by identifying 45 national pathways clustered around 4 key tracks. And this was complemented by a comprehensive food system assessment in 2022, establishing our baseline through the first voluntary progress report. And second, in our current situation, it is in the transition phase from this year to 2030. We are preparing and finalizing the National Action Plan on food transformation, food system transformation for Lao PDR, which is focusing on building the institutional and technical capacities, and also focusing on strengthening governance mechanism, developing science policy interface, promoting evidence-based decision-making, and also enhancing multi-stakeholder engagement. That's a very important point. And third, is the it is a vision for the full transformation phase. That means we will start in 2030 to 2050, which aim to moving forward comprehensive systems change, and also building resilience and sustainable food system with achieving the full integration of all stakeholders. For the question to ensure the effective articulation with stakeholders, we have established several kind of let's say mechanism or framework. For example, we have a National Food System Coordination Office and multi-stakeholder coordination mechanism. And we also have a roundtable process for policy dialogue and also sector working group for coordination. And agroecology working group is one of them. And also Lao Farmer Network is one of example of our mechanism. And at the regional level, we also promoting development of the ASEAN guidelines in agroecology for implementing and applying agroecology practices in the region. Regarding the private sector integration, we have developed a partnership through the Lao Business Forum, supporting SME in sustainable food production and trade. We have seen a particular success in developing GI or geographical indications for the products like we call khao kai noi rice, which in the north, and also coffee, Polymate coffee in the south, and also tea in the north provinces, which is demonstrate how stakeholder collaboration can create, let's say, tangible market opportunities. To measure the effects, we have implemented a comprehensive, let's say, monitoring framework that align with our national socio-economic development plan, and also it tracks progress across 4 dimensions, including diets and nutrition, environment and nature positive production, livelihoods and equity, and also resilience. We also incorporate a science-based monitoring process for evidence-based policy decisions. These are our journeys that demonstrate that food systems transformation require passion, commitment, and systematic effort. We recognize this is a long-term process requiring a sustained investment in both human and institutional capacities. This is all of my information on operationalizing food system transformation in our area. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for sharing the scheme and activities that you've designed to engage different stakeholders in the food system agenda and to measure its effect. So now, Mr. Tien, you've been involved in the development of organic outlets in Vietnam for several years now. So could you tell us a bit more about the trends you see in organic food in the country, and what evolutions you may have seen in the past years? And if you want to give a bit more detail about Pactum, it's also most welcome, because I'm not sure that most people know.
How much?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yes.
Too long.
Too long. You can do 5, but and we'll have round of questions afterwards.
Yeah, I have been working in this sector for 15 years. So I think I have understand quite well about the customer. And the trend recently, I think, still very conventional. First is about the quality, particularly the customer in the north. So a little bit between the north and the south. In the northern part, particularly Hanoi, the young ladies, they focus very much on the quality. And the second is the certification. Particularly in Vietnam, certification bodies not yet gain the trust from the consumers. So they tend to be more inclined to international certification like USDA or JAS. And the third is about, okay, more sophisticated. It's about branding. And here I just want to focus on branding because most of us don't know much about that or don't do it right. Because I work with a lot of projects and even my partnerships, my businesses, they think branding is only doing marketing, advertising. They don't do the basic things of branding, about the quality, about the customer care, about customer complaints dealing. But those are the core things. And the second of the branding is about the human resource. If you don't have a good human resource, you don't have trained them, they are not trained very well about customer care, about customer, about dealing with customer complaints or about quality control, they cannot do branding. So recently, I'm working with the NTFP EP exchange program, and we found that it took 5 or even 6 years already. But the project just focusing on training on technical, training on sales skills, but it does not work because they don't take care about the basic things of branding. So I think that's the 3 legs of for the outlets to be good in the market. And of course, in order to make it good, the Vietnamese, another trend is about the ecology. So recently, this also get well recognition from the customer. And of course, even ecology, we also need to link with branding and link with the quality. If we can do so, then we are not afraid of farmers getting low price. For example, recently we are working with a brand name milk, for that milk, beef, cow milk. And before it's like just called clean milk, and it can be sold at about 50,000 per bottle. But then we are working to do marketing, to do branding and certification before the products improve into organic, just organic, just is Japan. Then the price increased 30%. The price increased 30% and the sale volume increased 25%. That's also out of our expectation. Before that, we expect that with this increase of price, 30%, then we just hope, even we dream that the sale volume stay the same. But the volume, 25% increase. So meaning that the market, we have not meet with the demand of the market of high quality. And the second example is that we are working with orange. Orange, you know that orange in Vietnam, high quality, high price, mainly in Nghệ An province and in Hà Tĩnh, but Nghệ An is more. But Hà Tĩnh, only one combine of Thượng Lộc, if any one of you here heard about Thượng Lộc, where have kind of that 10 ladies died in one time, one place in the war with America. That orange, you know, that we found out on the same variety of Sa Đoài orange, the highest price we can sell in the market is 60,000. But then when we found the leaf trees, cây đậu rong gọi là cái gì? Sorry, cây đậu rong. À, no, cây đậu rong. So meaning that the orchard, yeah, the orchard, a lot of trees, and we choose the best one, just some best one, 1,000 trees, then we can. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, but you get me, yeah? 1,000 trees, then we can choose 1 or 2 trees, and then we multiply. Selection, but the best one, you know, and then we select and we graft it to multiply this best one to big garden, and after 7 years now we have big volume to sell. Now this season more than 30 tons, but we can sell, you know, the price, the quality, the eating quality, the same in the same orchard, ecological, yeah. The same orchards, the same procedure, but the price double. We can sell it 120,000, double, and not enough to sell. So I think that it means from these two examples, we think that the high quality, the consumers, high quality consumers not yet met. So that's why we are increasing the ratio of the organic and natural foods in our store. Even we, Batom is considered as the first store of organic in 2009, 15 years already. But vegetable, organic and natural vegetables only now account about 40%. 1%. We try our best, only 40%. So we would like to increase to 90% this year. But I don't think that we can live with that. Yeah? So the projects, these projects are very important. That's why I'm working with a lot of projects, even anti-FP projects in the Central Highland. We are working with them to purchase the products around the forest, yeah? But still not enough. So as you request, so just also short about Batom that we also looking for high quality products. So we focusing on natural and organic products. So if any project, any of your products that doing so, we would like to go with you. Not only to buy, but we going with you to build the capacity for farmer groups. That's making sustainability. That's making impact. That's making outcome. You know, about technical skills or sales skill, all of that can be trained easily. You know? But the capacity, the culture of sale, the culture of life are more important for our farmer groups to work in the long term with the private sector. And we are available to do so with you. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for this testimony about how actors of food systems such as organic outlets like Batom can help shape markets to meet consumers' demand for more high quality products. So now I'm going to ask Ms. Hang, yes, from Ricolto to tell us a bit more about the Good Food for Cities program that she's working on in the association Ricolto. So maybe you can give a few words about what Ricolto is and its activities, and then talk a bit more about this program.
Okay. I'm here on behalf of my manager, Dan Chang Tuấn. It seems that many people cannot be here today. And in Ricolto, in Ricolto International in Vietnam, we are running 2 programs. One is Good Food for Cities, and the other is Rice Program. The Rice Program, we operate in the Mekong Delta, so I'm not going to mention it here today. And the Good Food for City programs is the 5-year program running from 2022 to 2026, and we implement the program in 4 cities and provinces in the north of Vietnam. And in this program, we applied the food system approach and trying to connect multi-stakeholder to reach the sustainable sustainable food environment. And in this, in the past, agriculture focused a lot on agriculture and farmers, but in this project, we try to expand and apply the food system approach. So in this project, we not only focus on farmers, but also trying to connect them with other actors along the chain, like food vendors, agricultural cooperatives, food vendors in the cities, and also consumers. So and not only put the food actors along the chain, we also work with the relevant government office agencies. For example, the provincial plantation and plant protection agencies to institutionalize the good practices like PGS for farmers. So for this panel today, I want to introduce to you 2 points. One is the traditional wet market that we're working in the provinces and in Hanoi, and another is good food at school.
It's not working.
A flagship project
People are very hot.
that Ricoto is implementing at secondary school. So for the traditional wet market, you know that in Hanoi, maybe in some other countries, the modern supermarkets are mushrooming, but we cannot escape. We cannot run away from the traditional food distributions channels like the traditional wet markets. And in urban areas, still a lot of people with maybe lower middle income go to traditional wet market. However, there's a big question about food safety and traceability of the food in the traditional wet market, and you can see that the facilities there may be not up to our expectation. So what Ricoto has been doing is that we're trying to work with local farmers and train them with sustainable practice to ensure the quality of the food, especially the fruit and vegetables. And then we connect the farmers with the food vendors so that the food vendors are clear about where the food comes from, and then we can try to make the vegetables more traceable. And also we organize a lot of trainings with consumer with the help of women's unions, and we find that the women unions is the best partner to implement this, because they have a connection in the grassroots level, at a very lower level, and they can invite a lot of women who mainly responsible for meals and health of the family. And for food safety, is not only about food safety in one node of the chain, but also along the chain. So it's so we try to organize the trainings about food safety for consumers and for about nutrition, and those trainings are really appreciated by the women. And another project that we under Good Food for City is Good Food at School that we're working on, and we focus on the secondary public school in Hanoi, and we pilot 2 secondary schools. And the reason why we chose secondary school is that they are the age where they growing up, and they have, like the primary students, they mostly receive whatever the parents, the adults or caretaker give them. But the secondary school's age student, they have a different voice. They better to have their own taste, and they can maybe have some pocket money. And if you live in Vietnam long enough, you can see that in Vietnam you can easily buy cheap food on the street. And I think that it's one of the advantages of living in Vietnam, but also the disadvantage is that it's so cheap and it's so easy to buy out there, and it's really difficult for not only the student but also parents and even the government agency to manage the quality of the food. And also because it's easy for you to buy food on the streets, so many people choose not to cook, and you cannot be so sure about the nutrition intake. Another issues that we observe is that the health of secondary age students, many non-communicable NCDs disease now can be observed in younger people, and especially in urban area. Those you can see that a lot of maybe up to 30% of the urban children suffering from overweight and diabetes. So who is responsible for food and nutrition for students? Are they like schools or teachers? And we find that a lot of even parents, they maybe they're busy with their work, their job, but yeah, they still have to take care of their children. And also the catering company, the kitchen who cook the food for children, and also the nutritionist, for example. So in this Good Food at School project, we establish a multi-stakeholder coordination board, including teachers, parents, nutritionists, and even kitchen staff, to work together and find a better menu for children. Maybe the same quality and the same ingredients, but if you cook another way, they will eat up their own meal. And I see that another things that I observe from just students is that they are now kind of lost connection with the food. Maybe in our previous generation, our grandparents' generation, they grow their own food. And our parents' generation, maybe they have a lot of connection with the food, go to the supermarket, go to the traditional market to buy, but the children now they go to the supermarket, go to the store and buy some ready-made meal, and they do not know where the food come from. And last year we took the student to a farm, and we showed them the compost, and it was, and one of the students took out the phone and text her mom. Mom saved me. The smell here was really bad. I cannot stand it. So I see that I think there's a lot of the things we can do with the students so that we can transition towards the sustainable and healthier diet for them. Thank you.
Very good.
Well, thank you very much.
Excuse me,
Oh, yeah,
I
sure.
recommend.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I think for Riconto, because I have been also working several years with them. So I think because you are also working with the open market, yeah. So directly with private sector, that also called private sector. But the important, my experience is that when you work with private sector, the same with farmers, choose the champions. Otherwise, after the project, nothing remains, because normally the private sector, the business women in the open market, they just do transaction by transaction. They don't have commitment, long-term commitment, like organic stores. They don't have that, So you cannot work with them to have long-term contract with the farmers. Yeah? That's one thing. The second is about the open market. It's the whole, And if you can only make this one, then you cannot do branding. And if no branding, then these business women, okay, if they are champion, they cannot sell at higher price. So they cannot go long term with the farmers, The third is about the quality control. The quality control, when we do with farmers, we need a monitoring system. Otherwise, we cannot control the quality. Even in PGS Vietnam, more than 16 years already, but we still need a monitoring system, but that independent engineer to monitor, then to monitor farmers to make sure that they comply with the standards. Otherwise, the quality is very different from this farm to other farms. Even in PGS Vietnam, 16 years already. You know, and this I think Riconto already had one experience in Phu Thọ when you did the project of PGS, but for safe vegetable. You know? But after the project, farmers escaped. You know, they did not follow with the standard with the what project that's for them anymore because no market and no monitoring. So that's PGS in Phu Thọ. Maybe you knew, but you can ask your boss.
Well, thank you for this testimonies. It was a really good example of the importance of linking rural and urban areas, consumers and farmers, to ensure food safety for different type of actors, farmers, cooks, children, and so on.
Yeah, but the point is that should be private sector in, you know,
And include the private sectors.
Champions of private sector over there that can make it sustainable.
Yeah, thank you. So now we have a last intervention from Anamika Day from the Gujarat Grassroots Innovations Augmentation Network, which is an organization that wishes to scale up grassroots innovations and to contribute to the development of successful rural enterprises. We've been looking at your website, and we've also seen that you authored an article on the expertise women develop to cope with climate risks when it comes to nutrition and income. And this article highlighted the importance of developing policies to strengthen women's resource exchange and exploitation mechanisms. So our question will focus on gender sensitivity. So in your opinion, how would you say that farmer-led innovations and value chains should ensure that they are truly gender sensitive?
Thank you. My first question, rather than the answer, will be: have you ever seen a tractor made for women? No.
No.
But they drive. No, they do. They have started doing that, and actually, we transferred a technology from India to Africa on a four-wheeled.
But in Vietnam, women not drive tractor, but
No, so but in Africa they did.
Oh.
Yes, that's what I was telling.
Women normally take money. So for my business, 90% of my partners are women.
Now tell me one thing, your partners are women. How many small tools have you made for women?
How many?
Small tools. Suppose,
Yeah.
for example, you have seen women, most of the transplantation of rice, you eat a lot of rice, of course.
Okay.
So it's done by women,
In
right?
Vietnam might be different because in Vietnam those are mainly done by men. Women normally in the market.
So we're already jealous.
That's
very nice, good to see.
Yeah.
I hear.
That's why 90% of my suppliers, 90% of my suppliers are women.
Because they work so hard, so what's the problem?
My suppliers, meaning that the business women.
If they were men, you will be that vociferous about telling, 90% are men, 90% are women. You don't say that. But if you say women, you say 90% are women, 90% are women. Right? Okay. So now bringing them to value chain. First from production, production to post-harvest to value chain creation. Now, first thing is the equipments are not designed for them. Ergonomically, they are not good to use. And if you go through literature, you'll see that the task in which women are involved go through slowest technological change. Wherever women are involved, those tasks are, you have machines coming very late for those tasks. So this history says, I don't say. And historically, if you see, women were debarred from learning skills like carpentry, like blacksmithing. What they said is that they were too arduous for women to do. They will not be, their body are not made for carpentry or maybe blacksmithing. So when you don't have the skills, you cannot make your own tools. So if somebody says, okay, we did not make for you, why didn't you make? But you had institutions in place which will not let me enter a blacksmith's place. Forget about using those tools to make my tools, right? So that is another thing. Secondly, when the paper you cited or said was a study in eastern Uttar Pradesh, one of the states in India, and we found that women have very good knowledge about weeds, not the other wheat, but the companion ones, the ones that are in the agricultural field. And because they're involved in weeding, they are involved in cleaning the fields, right? And they knew the uses. They knew the medicinal uses. They knew the uses for the cattle. They knew which one to eat at what time for what kind of people. Like if there's a nursing mother, they have something called an itomia species, which was very good in iron, and they will feed. Now, what you did is first, and if you see the title of the paper, I wrote role reversal from beneficiary to experts, right? So we see them as beneficiary. We victimize a lot. It's good, it's okay. We are used to do that, but can't we change the lens and see them as experts in maybe something that they are very good at? They are good at childbirth, taking care of babies, taking care of elderlies. They are good with their nutritional knowledge, what to give, what not to give to maybe a small child, to your elderly parents, to oneself. Then they are very good at exchanges. So what we studied is the exchange between men were for money. Generally, very tangible thing. I need money, so you give me $100, and tomorrow I give you $100 or $105 based on the arrangement between us. But for women, they exchanged commodities because they did not have money. So suppose today somebody arrives in your house, I will get vegetables from my home street and give you. Tomorrow, if there are guests in my house, you will give me. And if even if there are no guests, so we exchange, because then we will have more variety of food to feed our family. They also knew that whenever there are lean months, what can be foraged from the homestead, foraged from the forest outskirts, so that the nutrition of the family is ensured. While decision making in many of the big decisions, which plant to grow, which crop to grow, or whether to take some loan, whether to take some insurance, were not with them, but something as important as nutrition was there. Thirdly, they could pool resources very well. So in India, we have a caste system. So there are castes like upper caste, lower caste, and like upper caste will not work with lower caste. Lower caste will not go to upper class place because they will be penalized for that. And it still exists in some pockets. When we went to the field, we saw these women talking very nicely and working together for I think for weeding. They were just pulling out weeds from the field. I said, but you don't allow her in your place. So why are you working with her? Then she said, something that stays with me is at home, we both are same. So at home, the status of a poor woman or a lower class woman is equal to an upper class woman because they don't have a say. So they used to talk and share their agonies or good things and also work together in the fields. Fourth thing, what we found, but they were very environmentally conscious. So when we go and we tell them, okay, we need this, they will always ask, do you actually need it? So they will not destroy things that they don't need for their own consumption or for others. And they were ethically very strong. So there is a leeward side also. There was a study where we studied how women money lenders work in rural area. And we found they were not only as good as the men money lenders, but they were better because they knew what were there in the household so that they can barter or they can take in exchange. So now coming to the other parts. Now for food processing, women have a very good knowledge, but we don't make them in market. Even for your store, how many how many products are actually processed by women?
Oh, a lot.
Not so not the
Because in our store, about 600.
600 products are there.
Yeah.
So not only the maybe fruits or vegetables, but also jam, cherries,
Yeah.
and other things.
Yeah,
Right?
but the processed products account about only 30%.
Okay.
We
Now,
focus
how
on
many of
perishable.
those? Now, how many of those have you given the name of the lady who makes it?
About 60%.
I will check.
As I said, 90% of our partners, our suppliers are women.
Yes, that's good. But the problem is when we
And
make
heavy
something.
work, mainly done by men. Yeah, that's for sure in Vietnam.
And the mentally heavy work are done by women. I like that.
As you say. But visit my
Okay,
factory.
I will,
See
I will.
how the men.
I'll show. So the point is when we as scholars, as researchers, when we go and work with women or men, and we go and document their knowledge, we never give their names. Forget about making them co-authors. We feel that why it will not matter to them. But tell me one thing, do you actually do things to if it will matter to others or it will matter to you? Most of the things that you do are things that matter to you. It doesn't matter if it matters to somebody else or not. So if it matters to you, why not give them their acknowledgement? Because you will feel good. Maybe the person will never know, or maybe his grandson or great grandson will ever find out when they Google that their father's or grandfather's name was there. But at least you, in this generation only, you will feel good. So acknowledgement and attribution of this knowledge is very important. And my last point is something called autonomy and agency. Autonomy is the freedom to choose, right? Agency is willingness to use that freedom. Capability of to use that uh, freedom. Now, many a times when we say we are very gender inclusive or we are having so many policies, so you are giving them the freedom, right? But are you making them capable to use that freedom? Do I have the capacity or capability to choose? Okay, how do I now use that freedom? The problem is we always talk about autonomy, we talk about freedom, we give this freedom, we give that freedom, but we also need to build the capacity to be able to use that freedom in a way which is useful to them and the society and the family. Thank you.
Thank you for these passionate discussions about the importance of acknowledging women's demands and contributions in food systems. So we are now ready to take questions from participants. If there are any, and I'm sure there are. Yeah. I will let you.
Another mic.
I would start with the last one, what women inclusion and gender sensitive intelligence. Well, this is very nice points actually for development and research and innovation impact wise. This is quite necessary. In Worldfish, in Bangladesh at least, not global Worldfish, but the general Worldfish policy also allows. In Bangladesh, what we do is making the household approach. So how do we train people? We make it as household approach, means that the household family members also join. So it is quite important here because if you want to only to train women, then it's also becoming sensitive in some cases for the men. So for women participation, male sensitization is really required. So I also give you an example here from the project I have been implemented. I have asked my colleagues that make sure that women are participating in our training program. And they say that it is difficult to women being in the same training room in the field level. The wives and children, girls and especially young girls is difficult. So why it is difficult? Because they say that it is not everywhere, in some cases, it is in the same room, in the same table, same chairs, equally they feel shy or some obligations actually, or maybe a barrier in the mindset, so things like that. So then what can be done? How we can make women to make sure that they participate? So the Muslim women make farda and things like that. So we ask that in the training we put farda. So what is the one side is the male, another side is the female. So the speaker, the trainer, he sits inside, but he can see both sides. But the participants they cannot see each other. So that's starting. So once the training starts, the people see that yes, the people who these guys what are they talking, they actually really beneficial for us. This is accept. Okay. So these people can come to our community and can talk and things like that. So then the next training, and also for women training for participation, I send my women colleagues, the male young colleagues, I say you should not go. Allow women colleagues to talk to them and things like that. Then they're becoming more familiarized. And then later on we said, can we remove the parda? Then they say yes, after a couple of months. Then the third time. So it is quite fascinating and it's quite challenging. And I think women inclusion and is really helpful for the adaptation of the technologies because then they can help each other. It also increases the confidence building. And then it is not right from the beginning. Actually, a lot of male are also supporting that, but possibly in the society, the boys are not so strong right from the beginning to oppose it. But you need to facilitate right from the beginning, then it can be changed. Thank you very much. But I really enjoyed the talk.
Thank you. So I'll give you an example. In Jammu and Kashmir, we have a project, and we were trying to work with the girls, and people will not allow us to enter their house because they felt that we will take away their girls, and that is near Pakistan border. So we did not give up. We every week we will go and knock their door and ask for their girls. So it so happened that some people finally gave in. And then there was this girl who was getting married, but she didn't want to get married because she wanted to do something, and the family was not willing to do that because, of course, the societal fabric and restrictions that they had. Now, after this training, we did a lot of training. We were working on different herbs and different crops that could help in nutritional sufficiency and also linking them to the market. Finally, after this training, now after 2.5 years, this girl has a shop and a factory of a bakery, and she employs all her 4 brothers. So, so, it changes. I agree that it just takes time, and also how the other person is, how receptive the other person is. You can only train a person who wants to be trained. If you can only, so I feel sometimes leadership qualities are there. We just need to develop an eye for bringing in such leaders, especially women or especially able children and adults, for bringing these kind of interventions into their lives, and they become a role model. Then it is now easy. Now, instead of 5 people, we have hundreds of girls coming and working with us. So yes. Thank you.
Okay, do we have other questions?
Thank you. So my question is to Mr. Alun Sai from Lao PDR. So, during the food system summit, one of the one of the things that came out as a strategy to really strengthen shorter value chains and really linking farmers to consumers is the link between the school feeding program and the producers organization. So it's like making school feeding program sustainable by also strengthening the producers organization. So it's actually one of the coalitions, the School Mills Coalition, that came out of the Food System Summit. So of course, for AFA, this has been our advocacy, and more like resource institutions or financial institutions are supporting this, really strengthening the procurement process of governments, especially those who have budget for school feeding, to really procure a percentage directly from producers organizations. So my question, in your food systems pathway, is this something that you have identified? And of course, LFN is here. They have organized their groups into like particular crops or livestock or aquatic foods, and it really has a potential. When they are organized, they can really be involved in the food procurement of school meals program or school feeding program of Lao or WFP. So is this something that you have considered in the food system pathway, or what can be done? Will it be something that you see as an important opportunity to really strengthen the national food systems?
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, we identify 45 pathways under the food system transformation action plan. So in these, we based on 4 tracks under the UN guidelines. So one of them is the school meal program. Is under, I'm not sure number of tracks, 2 or 3, I'm not sure the first track. So this is maybe will be done by WFP. Yeah, and how can we allocate fund to contribute to this? This is still on the discussion. As I said, we are finalizing the action plan. So that means we cannot finish the budget allocation on pathways. So that it will take time, and how much we can allocate to these kind of pathways implementation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yes, thank you. Just like to compliment, because I participated in the nation food system dialogue and also a food system profile in LPDR. So in LPDR, we don't have full school catering. No, it doesn't exist. I mean, the parents, they are coming with the food, they're giving the food to the children, and so the children generally they come to the school with their own food, mainly rice and meat. And okay, so it's the situation is a little bit different than in other countries. And yes, I just want to complement also what Estelle has said about Malika's activities, because I think that one activity that is very important within Malika and also within all the projects working on food system is the consumer preference studies. Because generally when in a lot of projects you have consumer awareness activities on food safety, for instance, or other points, but consumer preference studies are seldom done, and they are very important. One example regarding what you said about the organic market. In our PDR, we did it in a small market that was created by other project years ago in Pont-Savan, in the city of Pont-Savan in Saint Juan. So it's a very small city, but we have an organic market in this city. And it is interesting because why consumers of this small city that doesn't have a very very high purchase power, continue to buy their vegetable in these markets. And we can show that it's not linked with the certification, not at all. It is because this kind of products, mainly vegetables, have long shelf conservation. Their appearance is different, the taste is different. So it is something that is very important to put into the equation. That certification is important, maybe, but there are some others factors that are really important regarding the choice of the consumers. And we need to integrate these consumer preferences when we decide to finance some project or to sustain the certification. Because the main problem they have in this market, in this small market, is the cost of the certification. And the consumer, they don't care. They just want to see the green flag, the green shirt, and the good products. And if they have a problem with the product, they have a box and they can put some paper in the box saying, okay, I have a problem with this consumer, this seller. The product was not as good as it was before. And after they meet all together, the sellers, the farmers from the group, and they say, okay, we need to improve the quality. We had a problem with one product. What's happened? Oh yeah, I put some pesticide or some fertilizer because I needed to do it. So it happens. I mean, it's very difficult to control. We cannot put one policeman behind one farmer to control. So it's really difficult to do that. So the main way to engage and to build trust is to have a strong relationship between the sellers and the consumers, in my opinion. And it is exactly what we saw with the study we have done in Saint Juan.
Maybe Stephen, just sorry, may I? To complement on what you are saying, that it's consumer preference in the context of the understanding of the food environment that is available to the consumers, because that's what you are talking about. You're talking about the consumers having access to the specific organic market, mainly farmer market, if I'm not mistaken, and how this works, and how this connection are then built, and what difference it makes from a farmer perspective, but also very much from a consumer perspective, which then maintains the working of that market. So it's consumer preference in the context of this specific, what we call food environment, which is food availability, where do I purchase, how, what is my capacity to influence sellers, etc. And understand the control about it as well. Participatory guarantee system is also interesting because it creates this connection, or it is meant to create this connection.
Okay, we have two questions here. Maybe I will start in the back.
Hi, these are both for Mr. Chen. First, besides here, has the concept or the event of a UN Food System Summit, have you ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of the UN Food System Summit? Yeah. Okay, just checking. I'm just, I think a lot of times those involved in these discussions at the UN level don't connect with those that are actually on the level of business that's involved in agriculture and food. The second is, I don't agree with the gentleman and his perception of organics, because I've been very involved in the organics industry for many years, and there's a lot of challenges. It's a great marketing tool, but it's hard to produce organically, and there's often fraud. So how do you verify that your product is actually organic? Do you engage in evaluation or audits or certification of that, or does the government of Vietnam or the certifiers here?
Stefan, I think the question was for you, or the question was for
Mr. Chen.
Yep, for both of you, that's PGS. We use PGS too. So participatory guarantee system. If anyone want to hear about that. So we have been doing this for 16 years. So this is for local market. So meaning the market of around 1 hour from the production area. For example, now we 2 years ago, IDB has evaluation about to measure the trust of the consumers, and PGS certification gained the first in Vietnam, not compared to international certification, but in Vietnam, the PGS gained the first. And the cost is cheap because we use the local people to monitor. Like I said before, is cross-checking and independent engineer to do inspection and monitoring. And PGS is by iPhone, just for someone.
I have an observation. We also do that. Other farmers and other villages will look all the year round if the farmer is involved in any kind of other like chemical inputs. But the point is, we don't write organic because because the fields are connected, and if there's a spillover from the neighboring field to mine, and then it will come to my crop. And there's a huge penalty in India for if you are getting even trace amount of any chemicals in your organic. Okay. So we don't call we call it sattvic, which is not organic as such, but in Hindi it means something which is good and sustainable. But we don't call it organic because if you write organic and if there are traces found, and also if we want to get a certification, it's good to get once, but for having a sustainable market, it will take a long time, and your payback period will not allow you to sell it at a price that consumers can afford. So that is another point.
Yeah, but in our case in Hanoi, this market already 16 years, and the one to make the quality is not only cross-checking.
We do it for 23 years.
Yeah, but you only do conventional checking. You don't.
We have a market.
Okay. Answer my question. How do you ensure the quality of organics?
Okay. Should I?
Yeah.
So we have volunteers. We have about 15,000 farmers.
Volunteer doesn't work.
Listen, 15,000 farmers.
Yeah.
15,000
But believe
farmers. 15,000 farmers in one place, in one.
Okay,
one,
ask the audience. Volunteer doesn't work long term, Volunteer just working short term. 1 year, 2 years, okay.
Okay.
But it doesn't work.
Maybe
It depends on the cost.
It depends on the context.
And the context, right? And so these farmers, 15,000 farmers, they check on each other, right? And also our staff will go unannounced. Our colleagues will go unannounced and find out from the villages. Because a farmer can lie once or twice, but not everybody in the village or 100 people in a village will not lie, right? So that is one thing. Second is we have a lab, a national products lab. If we have doubt, we get it tested. Okay. Third is the consumer. So we recently had a festival. So about 70,000 people visited these stalls in 3 days. So you understand the kind of crowd that it pulled. And there were people who sell from hot products to organic vegetables to organic products, jams, jellies, and value-added products, even oils and other things. So when there is, when a market is sustaining, you don't doubt it. When market pulls, there is a pull from the market.
So
When
who buy from farmers?
the farmers sell directly to the consumers. We are just giving them the platform.
So only online.
No, 70,000 people coming walking. Like $50 per entry fee is there.
Yes, so all farmers do, you know. So no independent inspector from outside.
There are because the government, the FSI, so there is a government body which will check on the claims. And if they find it wrong, then they will penalize.
So for my experience, that doesn't work. Because those are volunteer, you know, volunteers cannot work for a long time, you know. The second is government, because they are not motivated, they are not paid by that. So in our
So why
case,
didn't you come to India?
you are here, so you can visit our farms. Yeah, I Yeah, but I mean, what Vietnam is doing is, you know, is more reliable. That one is cross-checking. No, that's conventional. That's in theory, doesn't work. But second, in lab, okay. But we use independent engineer. And this is paid by the farmers and by private sectors. Those like us. We have to pay for them because we gain trust from the consumers, and we can sell and we can earn money from that. And then we pay, you know?
I think we can continue the discussion during the coffee break, but it's a really good example of the benefits of sharing experiences from different countries and how it's important to take contextual factors into consideration when we innovate in food systems. So we have one last question, and then we will have a well-needed coffee, tea, or water.
Let me be very quick, lest I become unpopular. This is a wonderful illustration. We did a comparative study of safe vegetable marketing, actually in Hanoi, Nanjing, and Chiang Mai in Thailand, funded by the EU. It was about 15 years ago, so that's something that you were starting things up. And it's quite interesting because Thailand, there was a real trust between consumers and farmers. So labeling, following protocols and labeling the vegetables as safe vegetables worked because that trust existed and consumers were regular. Nanjing, not a chance. When we did market surveys, there was a word in Chinese, something like "shui," which meant this vegetable looks too good. And the consumers were not prepared to pay for it because they didn't believe whether it had a certificate, whether it was safe or not. So I think we can really see that you're both almost certainly right, isn't it? Within the context that you're operating, it may be that you need different ways of doing things. But one thing that's really important about the difference between organic and agroecological, which of course may overlap, is that organic production actually is prescriptive about practice. You have to do certain things or not do certain things. Whereas agroecology is based on principles, and the practice is diverse, providing it is working to those principles. That's a fundamentally different thing that you're attempting to certify. It's a fundamentally different approach. to what is happening. And it does lend itself more to trust and connectivity, where you're communicating about what your products are between the farmers and the consumers. Thanks.
So let's now conclude this panel. Thank you very much again for your participation.
I'm not in disagreement with a normative, strong normative beyond organics, right? But that doesn't mean that standards and certification has no means for different agroecological contexts. Something that Ricolto has been doing is doing PGA phosphate vegetables, right? Not organic, but something that consumers were looking for. I'm not pretending it was organic, right? So it was a different normative, right? And it was for consumers in open markets looking for that type of sale, but not looking for strictly organic. So it's something also that you can have different standards, right? And depending on who builds it and how is it understood by consumers and built with producers, it can make sense in the context of agroecology, right? But,
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Let's meet in 10-15 minutes after the break.
Very good.
Et donc,
Voilà.
là, c'est bon, là, t'as 15 ans de...